Para ver la versión subtitulada en español, entra a nuestro canal de YouTube. Encuéntralo como Jazz en las Rocas.
Okay, I was always a fan of music. My mother would take me when I was very little to record stores. And just the love of music. And it didn't seem as much as it was kind of, in New York we had, man, LA is no scene. But as of recently, there's a lot of musicians that have moved to LA. And so it's hard to have a centralized scene because LA is just so spread out. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna put on my jazz hat and this is gonna be jazz. Jazz cats are funky, you know. Funk cats are jazzy. Fred Wesley and them, I mean, they swing harder than, you know. So, I mean, once you make that connection, everything becomes one. It's a blessing because it's, you know, a lot of musicians want to play with, you know, different people all the time. But it's kind of like going to a dinner party. You have a lot of small talk, you know, but when you're around friends that you've had for 20 years, the conversation has subtext, it has humor, it has all this, it has its backdrop, and that's how music is. So the fact that, you know, we've been together 20 years, yeah, it's great. There's my best friends and my brothers, so.
Este podcast es patrocinado por Bacardí y Casa del Agua. Jazz en las Rocas. El jazz no es para conocedores, es para quien lo quiere escuchar.
Bienvenidos a este episodio de Jazz en las Rocas con un invitado muy especial, internacional, Eric Revis, right?
Yes.
Say that right.
Yes.
Gonna switch to English now. He plays the bass, upright,
double bass,
upright
bass.
bass. Yeah, this terminology. So Eric is here as part of the Tarbaby couple of dates that you played in Mexico City, of course, in Parker and Lennox.
Yes.
When you're watching this is happened like 15 days ago, probably a month. So, and it was amazing. If you didn't came, you missed it. May I give you some Bacardi 8, thanks to our sponsors who give us something to drink while we talk and get to know these amazing musicians. So tell me, Eric, what got you into music? Because you didn't born playing, did you?
No, I'm born as my parents bought me a little small record player.
Okay.
I was always a fan of music. My mother would take me when I was very little to record stores, and just the love of music. None of my
Cheers for that mom that
mom, yes,
got you
yes,
to record
yes.
stores. Cheers.
And so just becoming a fan of music, I was really part
Like
of
from
that.
a really young age.
Yeah,
Okay.
I always had, you know, a record collection and all these kind of things. And
Where was that? Where were you living at?
that was I was born in Los Angeles, but I grew up in Fresno, California.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
And right now you live in Los Angeles.
I'm
so-
back in Los Angeles after Fresno, back to LA for a little bit, Texas, San Antonio, Texas.
Okay.
Went to school in New Orleans. Then I was in New York for 13, 14 years.
Okay.
And then kind of made my way back to LA.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, except San Antonio, all of them are big music towns.
Yeah. Well, San Antonio is a big. Yeah.
It has a scene, right?
It
has
has a
like
scene,
a
yeah.
country scene or a rock
Country
scene, probably.
Country scene. The Tejano scene is very big. You know, it's like not jazz. No.
Not
No,
jazz,
no,
yeah.
Not a big jazz.
Not that big. But how about the LA scene?
What about
jazz,
the LA scene?
Jazz LA scene.
Coming up, I wasn't exposed to it. Having been back there like 10, 15 years now, there seems to be quite a bit of a resurgence of. I would always travel to LA when I first started going on the road. Betty Carter, Branford goes there a lot of times. Different. Bernard Harper, we went there several times.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem as much as it was kind of, in New York we had, man, LA is no scene. But as of recently, there's a lot of musicians that have moved to LA. And so it's hard to have a centralized scene because LA is just so spread out.
Yeah.
But
little towns all over.
Yeah.
Not
But
that
it's-
little towns.
But no, it seems to be, you know, there's a lot of people playing and a lot of people there.
LA scene.
Yeah.
Do you think, well, not the LA scene, like in general, there's a jazz resurgence, at least in the States?
I don't know if there's ever been, it's ever really gone away. There's always been a pretty vital jazz community, and various towns all over. Chicago's always had a scene.
Great scene.
New Orleans has a scene. LA has had its scene. San Francisco has a scene.
Yeah.
So, although it may not be put out there in the population as being popular music, there's always been a market for creative, individuals. So
Okay, so let's hear more about you. You started to get involved with music when you were very young,
Yes.
and when did you decide to study music, like to really get into it?
it was a kind of a tiered process. My parents got me a guitar.
Okay.
Played guitar and strummed along, and I didn't like that. And I was always into like the Jackson 5 and this kind of thing. And I wanted, for some reason, I was attracted to the electric bass.
Okay.
So it took a few years for them to give me an electric bass. I started studying that. Around that time, I started playing in band.
Okay.
In band, so 6th or 7th grade.
When was that? 70s? I don't want to put you on the spotlight.
70s.
Like,
Yeah,
70s,
yeah,
because
70s.
there was these amazing funk, soul
Oh, yeah.
bass lines happening. So
Yeah,
it was a good
that was my
time to
thing.
play
I mean,
bass.
my kings were like Bootsy Collins and,
Nice.
and like Verdine White and all those,
Okay.
Nathaniel Phillips.
Good recommendations there. Yeah.
yeah.
Coolness.
So as I got an electric bass, and in school I wanted to take band, so they put me, I played trombone.
Okay.
Trombone and tuba and baritone horn. So I did
All
that
around.
through middle school, through high school.
Okay.
While developing myself on electric bass and playing all kinds of bands and stuff like that.
And then, like after high school,
After high school,
where did you study? Like it was music?
yeah.
Went
Well,
directly-
at first it was biology. I was a biology major at first, and then it was like, man, fuck this. I want to play music.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of took over itself. I went to, when I first got out of high school, I went to Southern University and studied under Alvin Baptiste. And right then, a lot of those people, just a ton of musicians have come from his tutelage. I didn't know enough to even learn at that point. I thought,
Yeah.
I had gone.
I know that.
it happens.
I live there. No.
So I went back to San Antonio. Started playing in a hotel band, and one of the guys in the hotel band started introducing me to like quote unquote real jazz.
Yeah.
And so I was listening to it, and as luck would have it, the bass is like, wow, wait a minute, what are they doing? So around 2021, I transitioned to the concert bass.
That was not long
Late.
ago.
Yeah, it was late.
That was okay. So did you find like a completely different sound from the jazz bass to these funky
Oh, yeah.
soul bass?
There's a different sound, but there's also a kind of a thread that goes through it. Duke Ellington is one of the funkiest cats ever. Thelonious Monk is funk.
Yeah, funk. Yeah.
James Brown and Thelonious Monk, there's a correlation there.
Yes.
So if you can get to the point where you see that universality,
Okay.
it becomes, it's not like, oh, I'm going to put on my jazz hat and this is going to be jazz. Jazz cats are funky. Funk cats are jazzy. Fred Wesley and them, I mean, they swing harder than, So, I mean, once you make that connection, everything becomes one. It's
Yeah, we've in this podcast we talk a lot about these genres that they impose the genres, but musicians don't care. They're like, I want to go this direction. I don't care what it's called.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of when you see it as an outsider, there's a lot of genres, genre jumping. I don't know how to say it. Like a musician would be in one album going into funk, and then he's deep into jazz.
Well,
and it's the same music for him. For
all
this
these guys,
musician.
I mean, all the musicians that I know that are really dear to me, I mean, they check out a vast array of stuff. It's all kinds of stuff. I mean, we're always talking to each other, hey, have you checked this out? And it could be country music, it could be some, West African stuff. It's all the same.
Yeah, it's music.
It's music.
for the one that understands it, it's just music. And so, talking about your current position, situation, in Tarbaby, that it's the project that brings you to Mexico. Mm-hmm. How long have you been in Tarbaby since the beginning?
We've been together 20 years, maybe?
That's a lot. That's a lot for a band.
Yeah.
It sounds like you know each other, you know, like
it's a blessing because it's, you know, a lot of musicians want to play with, you know, different people all the time. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like going to a dinner party. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of small talk. Yep. You know, but when you're around friends that you've had for 20 years, the conversation has subtext, it has humor, it has all this, it has this backdrop. And that's how music is. So the fact that, you know, we've been together 20 years, yeah, it's great. There's my best friends and my brothers, so.
What a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds amazing. Okay, to wrap it up and don't go too long on this, the question we ask everyone who sits here, a jazz album for someone who wants to jump into jazz.
One?
Yeah, it has to be one.
Wow.
It doesn't have to be your favorite, just the one that you have in your head right now.
I'm going to say, and this is, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but something else, Cannonball Adderley.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the classics.
Quintessential jazz, right?
Yeah, and I think it's a lot started with Cannonball Adderley, so I think you can get a great thread from there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's Eric Revis, Cannonball Adderley, something else for the record. For all eternity, right here is going to be. That was your choice. Oh, and like right now, happening in any scene, like something we should be paying attention to. Someone, something.
You know, I'm saying Tarbaby.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Since I have you in front of me, why?
Because we're one of the few bands that has a forward trajectory while also having roots in it. It's not like, oh, this is just new for new sake. We encompass the whole body of everything that we know, and very few bands are able to do that. We're like, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. We do it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing.
Last question. So.
Last.
All
right.
Ultimate last. Would you consider jazz, Tarbaby, pure jazz?
Yeah.
And that's something that constrains you, or you decide to go into, we're gonna be playing just jazz, or it's natural?
Goes back to what I was talking about before, the whole universal nature of it. Mm-hmm. Man, it's all jazz. And
Eric Revis, thank you very much.
Oh, man.
Thanks for being here. Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Gracias a ustedes por vernos. Comenten si conocen a Tarbaby y si no, vayan, escúchenlo y comenten si ya lo conocen. Muchas gracias por estar con nosotros.
Jazz en las Rocas. Agradecemos a nuestros patrocinadores Bacardi y Casa del Agua.